Okay, y'all, so I'm going to do my makeup while I ramble. So I came across this video on TikTok the other day. It was this girl. She was like, her dad told her that if you cut everybody off for every little thing, you're gonna end up with no one, right? And I related to this so much because that was a defense mechanism that I had. Instead of like speaking up for myself, or instead of commenting on things, like I would just kind of like back away or whatever. Now, granted, everything doesn't need to be commented on. Now, granted, everything doesn't need to be commented on, but for the people that you do love and that you do want to be in your life, give them the same grace that you would want somebody to give you. Like if you did something wrong, like first of all, I had to realize that everybody is not raised the way that you're raised. So just because you know that this is something that shouldn't be done, or just because this rubbed you a certain way, that doesn't mean that it rubs the next person that same way. Like everybody wasn't raised the same way. So, so just because something hurts your feelings, that doesn't mean that it hurts the next person's feelings. And I had to learn that. And so, like, my defense mechanism would always just be kind of like distance myself. But I'm learning as I get older now, like, okay, it's okay to comment on certain things, like, hey, this hurt my feelings, or hey, you rubbed me wrong with this, or you rubbed me wrong with that, without having the fear of being problematic. First of all, if you feel like you're going to come off problematic, you probably don't need to be friends with them. Now, the people that you really don't care if they're in your life or not, I've learned like how to deal with those type of people too. Like when they rub me wrong, instead of commenting on it, because it's like I really don't, you're really not a part of my everyday, so I really don't care like if we talk every day, or if we on good terms or not. So with those type of people, like I've learned to like just adjust. And that's basically what the video was saying. The girl was like, her dad was telling her, just adjust. Like you don't have to fall out with everybody or make a big what's that word, like I'm losing my train of thought. You don't have to make a big scene when you leave, like, or when you distance yourself from people. Like, people will catch on, like, especially if they're not your everyday. Like, you don't have to comment on everything, or, oh, no, they did this to me, they're such a bad person. Hold on. Like, everybody is not a bad person just because they don't fit to your expectations, because the next person, they may be a great friend too, So everybody just has those deal breakers, or those things that kind of rubs them wrong. It may not rub the other person wrong, you know what I'm saying? So it just comes a time where, again, you have to learn to categorize your friends. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, if I got to categorize my friends, I just don't want to F with you. But baby, I'm gonna have to break the news to y'all. Y'all are not supposed to be friends with everybody that comes into y'all life. Y'all are supposed to categorize people. There are co-workers. There are people that you met somewhere and you can just see them and you can speak. There are homegirls. There are like fun people. Like, you have to categorize with people, because if you cut everybody off for every little thing, like the video said, you're going to be lonely. So again, you are going to have to categorize friends. You are going to have to not categorize friends, but categorize people. Like, you may have clients or people that you work with that you can talk to about certain things, but that does not make them your friend. And I think that the problem that we're running into is that people are getting upset because you're automatically allowing people that you just met or has not worked their way up to being your friend into more intimate conversations and intimate settings. And that is on you. That is not on them. So again, you have to categorize people until they work their way up, or until you work your way up in their life. Like, so stop having intimate conversations with coworkers, or stop having conversations that you have with your friends or your best friends, with people, with homegirls or clients, or people that, you really shouldn't be having these intimate conversations with, and you won't feel away or feel like, oh, they did me wrong. No, they did not do you wrong. You should have never opened that door up to someone who was not your friend in the first place. I used to be too much of an open book, and that was my problem. Having conversations with people that I shouldn't have been having those intimate conversations with. and feeling like I've disclosed something that I probably shouldn't have disclosed, you know, as time go on, because they have not worked their way up to being my friend. Like, we haven't even got to that level yet, and I'm sharing things that I shouldn't even really be sharing with them. So that actually ties into something else that I'm working on, which is thinking before I speak. Sometimes we just be in such a rush to speak that we just start rambling about everything, telling business, cussing unnecessarily, like doing all these things that we really, you know, wouldn't be doing if we would have just slowed down and thought about what we were about to say. So another scenario that I can think of is, okay, if you have somebody that, you know, you're cool with. I'm not going to use the word friend because, again, we use that word too freely and too loosely. You have a friend that you feel like is not supportive. They don't like things on your page. Like, they don't like or comment on things on your page or certain things like that. So because they're not really your friend anyway, they're just somebody that, you know, just kind of cool with. Instead of like just falling out with them, reciprocate the same energy that they're giving to you. And I don't necessarily feel like it's petty games. I just kind of feel like you give people what they give you. I don't think that's a petty game. I don't think that's, oh, you're playing petty games. I'm if somebody's not supporting me or they're not doing this, no, you just reciprocate the energy. We are of a human species that we really don't respond to words. We respond to action. So if somebody stop hearting your stuff or stop commenting on your stuff or stop liking your stuff, do the same thing to them. Then they're gonna be wondering why they don't be hearting and commenting on my, oh, maybe because I don't be hearting and commenting. Like, you know, I know that sometimes that's just how I think, like, okay, I wonder why they don't do this and do that. We respond to action, not words. And again, the scenario that I just said, that is for people that are not really like your friends. Your friends deserve an explanation. Your friends deserve for you to say something. I'm gonna say something to my friend, like, girl, I posted this video and I did not see you in the comments or the reactions. What's going on? I do that to friends, but people that I really don't just consider as a friend, like, I just kind of like, okay, like, you know, because everything does not deserve a reaction, especially if it's somebody that you really don't you really don't care about. You just kind of, like the girl said on the video, you just kind of adjust. And that's what I've been learning to do. Like, instead of having all these unnecessary tensions with people, just kind of adjust, just kind of do them how they do you, and that's that. And I know some of y'all are going to say, so you're saying to keep people in your life no matter what? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can still deal with people, but just limit the access that they have to you. Everybody should not have the same amount of access to you. What's the point of being your best friend? Somebody being your best friend if somebody that's not your best friend has the same amount of access. Like, they get to know all the tea that your best friend get to know, or they get to have all the access that your best friend has to you. What's the point of having a best friend? You get what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta limit the access. And the girl was also saying, like, that's a form of control. Like, everything is not gonna go your way. Everything is not gonna go exactly how you want it to go. So just be a little more, I don't know how I'm trying to say it. But again, it's your world. I'm just living in it, just like it's my world, and y'all are just living in it. So you don't have to do things the way I'm saying it. I'm just telling you to have like a different take. If cutting people off as soon as they do something to you, step on your toe or anything is the answer to everything, then girl, I get it, because I used to be the same way. But I'm taking a different approach with things. I'm just kind of learning how to keep people at arm's reach and not give them so much access to me, because I don't, you know. But again, it's your world. I'm just leaving it, girl. But all in all, honey, you do what works for you, whatever works for you. So if cutting people off is the answer, if, you know, distancing yourself is the answer, if just not dealing with people is the answer, whatever works for your story and what makes sense and for you. No matter what I say, no matter what Shira 7 say, no matter what the Ghost Whisperer say, no matter what any of those people say, we are on here in influencers and people like that are on here to give you some type of inspiration, but you should not be taking your whole person, making them your whole personality. You take bits and pieces and you apply what makes sense to you. anytime you start to try to do things that doesn't work with you or doesn't go with your spirit and what your story is supposed to look like, you'll find yourself lost, and you'll always find yourself trying to find yourself. So just do what works for you. Do what feels right. Happy Sunday.